Hey guys, thanks for clicking on the video. Welcome back to Dreamcraft Studios. My name is Alex, and today we're back with another rules and how to play guide for beginners for Warhammer 40K Kill Team 3rd Edition. Now we're going to be looking at the Aeldari Xenos faction today, specifically the Blades of Khaine Kill Team. Now if you do find the video useful, you do like it, please give the video a thumbs up. And in the comment sections down below, let me know what kill team you play or what guides you want to see in the future. And if you do want to stay tuned for any future videos and guides in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button with the bell icon as well. Also, we do have a Patreon. If you want to show us some more love and support, become a Patreon member, and we'll have exclusive content coming on the way, as well as terrain guides and things like that. Now, with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. But before we start, just let you know that everything that I'm presenting here today is available for free on the Kill Team app, available to download on Android or iOS. So make sure you get on that, and it makes Kill Team a lot easier to play. Now, let's get right into it, guys. Okay guys, here we go with another rules and how to play for beginners for the Xenos faction Aeldari Kill Team Blades of Khaine. Now there is quite a lot to go through today. We'll be going through the faction rules, the strategic ploys, firefight ploys, the equipment, and special weapon rules and things like that for these operators, as well as the team composition. So firstly, moving into the faction rules for the Kill Team Blades of Khaine, we've got aspect techniques. So right here it says, each aspect technique is in a category: Die Avenger, Howling Banshee, and Striking Scorpion. Each aspect technique can only be used with a friendly operative that has the matching aspect keyword, and each will specify when it can be used and what its effects are. In addition, you cannot use more than one aspect technique per activation or counteraction. You cannot use each aspect technique more than once per turning point. If every friendly Blades of Khaine operative selected for deployment has the same aspect keyword, e.g. Striking Scorpion, you cannot use each aspect technique more than twice per turning point instead of once. Alright, so firstly we'll be looking at the aspect techniques specifically for the Howling Banshees. So the first one we have is the Woe. This aspect technique can only be used during a Howling Banshee's activation. The operative must have performed a charge action, incapacitated an enemy during a fight, moved out of control range of an enemy after incapacitating the target. The Howling Banshee gets to immediately perform a free charge action using any leftover movement distance from its first charge action. The operative is allowed to perform 2 charge actions during its activation if needed to use this ability. The restriction must not have performed any other actions, e.g. a normal move, during this activation before triggering the aspect technique. However, it can perform additional actions after using this technique. Now, the first charge is the initial movement to engage and fight the enemy. The second charge, the free charge granted by this technique, is using the leftover movement from the first charge. Okay, so the next aspect technique we have for the Howling Banshees, we have Rain of Tears. You can use it during a fight action. It activates after the Banshee strikes with a critical success. So the fight sequence immediately ends after that critical strike, and any remaining attack dice from both your operative and the opponent are discarded, preventing any further damage or retaliation. The operative then performs a free dash or fall back action up to 3 inches. The Banshee can perform the dash or fall back action even if it normally wouldn't be allowed to, such as due to restrictions from other actions like a prior charge. Alright, and the next Howling Banshee aspect technique is acrobatic. You can use this technique when a Howling Banshee operative performs any action involving movement, so a move, charge, dash, or fallback. And it applies until the end of the movement action. You can basically ignore any vertical distances. The operative doesn't measure or consider vertical distances for climbing or dropping. For example, it can leap over obstacles or scale tall terrain effortlessly. You can move through enemy operatives, so they can move through enemy operatives as if they weren't there, move within control range of enemies without restrictions, leave control range during a charge action provided it ends movement in a valid engagement per normal charge rules. If the movement is part of a charge action, the operative cannot exceed its normal move stat, so there is a charge limitation on that. So acrobatic makes Howling Banshees almost impossible to pin down and ensures they can maneuver to hit critical targets while bypassing terrain and enemy interference. It's excellent for outmaneuvering opponents and maintaining control of the battlefield. The next Howling Banshee aspect technique is Scream That Steals. You can use this technique during a fight action or when retaliating in melee. It activates at the start of the resolve attack dice step, and you can choose to resolve one of your successes, normal or critical, before the standard order of resolving dice. If you do this, the chosen success must be used to block an enemy attack die. Screen that Steals is a situational but powerful defense tool, allowing you to disrupt the enemy's ability to deal heavy damage, but especially useful against opponents with high damage, melee weapons, or critical heavy attacks. For the final Howling Banshee aspect technique, we've got Shriek That Kills. You can use this aspect technique when a friendly Howling Banshee operative is performing the shoot action. Till the end of that action, the operative can use the following ranged weapon, the Shriek That Kills. It has 6 attacks and hits on a 3+. It does 1 normal damage and 2 crit damage. It's got a few weapon rules. It's got a range of 6 inches. It's got the Saturate, Seek Light, Stun, and Torrent 1-inch weapon rules. So Saturate means the defender cannot retain cover saves. Seek Light, when we're selecting a valid target, operatives with a concealed order cannot use light terrain for cover. While this can allow operatives to be targeted, assuming they're visible, it doesn't remove their cover save, if any. Stun, if you retain any critical successes, subtract 1 from the APL stat of the operative this weapon is being used against until the end of its next activation. Torrent 1-inch, select a valid target as the primary target, then select any number of other valid targets within 1 inch of the first valid target as secondary targets. So shoot this weapon against all of them in any order of your choice. Roll each sequence separately. Now it says Torrent 1-inch here, but if it says 2-inch, 3-inch, just adjust the stat accordingly. Okay, we're moving on to the Dire Avengers now, and so for the first aspect techniques for the Dire Avenger, we've got the Slicing Hurricane. You can use this technique during a reposition action by a Dire Avenger operative. The operative must have a valid weapon, either Shuriken Catapult, Shuriken Pistol, or Twin Shuriken Catapult. The operative can perform a shoot action as part of the reposition action. The shoot action must be performed at a valid position during the movement path, a location where the operative could legally be placed during the reposition. After shooting, the operative may continue to use any remaining movement distance from the reposition action. Essentially, it's a run and gun. So yeah, the Slicing Hurricane enables Dire Avengers to remain highly mobile while delivering effective ranged attacks. It's perfect for tactical repositioning, avoiding retaliation, and applying pressure to multiple areas of the battlefield. Now, there's just the designer's note on the side here. If the operative is able to perform 2 shoot actions in an activation and uses the Slicing Hurricane Dire Avenger aspect technique, can it perform both shoot actions during the same reposition? Yes. So the next aspect technique we've got for the Dire Avenger is Death of 1,000 Blades. You can use this technique during a shoot action when a Dire Avenger operative selects either a Shuriken Catapult or a Twin Shuriken Catapult. And until the end of the activation, the selected weapon gains the Torrent 2-inch rule, which means that it can affect enemies within 2 inch of the enemy target in addition of the primary target. Now, you can only select one secondary target in addition to the primary one, so there is a limitation there. But essentially, it enhances the Dire Avenger's ability to lay down suppression fire, hitting multiple targets with a torrent of shuriken, excels in situations where enemies are grouped together, making it a great tool for thinning out enemy ranks. Alright, moving on, we've got Vigilance of the Avenger. You can use this technique during a shoot action when the Dire Avenger operative selects either a Shuriken Catapult or a Twin Shuriken Catapult. Until the end of the next activation, the selected weapon gains the lethal 5+ rule. This means that any successful hits with the weapon will automatically cause a critical hit on a 5+. Just makes the Dire Avenger a lethal marksman, enhancing their ability to critically strike with shuriken weapons. It's ideal for eliminating tough or important targets, ensuring that their shots are not only accurate, but devastating. Okay, so for the next aspect technique we've got for the Dire Avenger is Unstinting and Immovable. You can use this technique when shooting with a friendly Dire Avenger operative. It activates if 2 or more fails are rolled during the attack. You can discard one of those failed rolls and retain the other fail as a normal success instead. It provides reliability in the face of adversity. It turns bad dice rolls into an opportunity to land successful hits, improving the consistency and effectiveness of Dire Avengers in range combat. And we've got the final Dire Avenger aspect technique, Raging Heat of the Dying Flame. You can use this technique during a Dire Avenger operative's activation, and the effect lasts until the start of the operative's next activation. While active, you can ignore any changes to the operative's stats caused by being injured, including penalties to weapons or other characteristics. This aspect technique allows the Dire Avenger to fight with unyielding resolve, maintaining full effectiveness despite injuries. It's a great tool to ensure that even when wounded, the Dire Avenger remains a formidable threat on the battlefield. Alright guys, we're walking into the realm of the Striking Scorpions now. So the aspect technique number 1, we've got Patient Stalk Sudden Blow. You can use this technique when a striking Scorpion operative with a concealed order performs the reposition action. During the reposition action, the operative can move within the control range of enemy operatives, but it cannot end its move within the control range. After completing the move, you can inflict D3 plus 2 damage on the operative it moved within control range of. So, Patient Stalk Sudden Blow allows the striking scorpion to remain concealed while closing in on an enemy, deals significant damage once it's in range, and it's perfect for ambush tactics and catching opponents off guard. Really fun. The next aspect technique for the Striking Scorpion is Strike and Fade. You can use this technique when a Striking Scorpion operative incapacitates an enemy operative during the fight action. The operative must no longer be within 3 inches of any enemy operatives. The operative's orders changes to conceal. The operative can immediately perform a free dash action even if it already performed action that would normally prevent it from doing so. So Strike and Fade enables the Striking Scorpion to execute quick strikes and then vanish just as swiftly, using both mobility and stealth to avoid retaliation. It's perfect for disrupting the enemy lines and escaping unscathed. So the next aspect technique for the Striking Scorpion is the Scorpion's Eye. You can use this technique when a Striking Scorpion operative is performing the shoot action. You must select a Shuriken pistol for the attack. The Shuriken pistol gains the Seek Light weapon rule for the duration of the action. So Seek Light, we went over it before, it allows the weapon to target enemies who would normally be obscured or concealed by bypassing visibility restrictions in certain scenarios. If you want to check that, we'll just go back to the previous page where we go over that with, I think, Shriek That Kills. Okay, but anyhow, Scorpion's Eye allows the Striking Scorpion's Shuriken pistol to bypass visibility restrictions, making it a potent tool for eliminating concealed or hidden threats. It's an excellent option for overcoming enemies relying on stealth or cover. So the next aspect technique for the Striking Scorpion, we have one with the Gloom. Now, it's activated during a Striking Scorpion operative's activation. The operative must have a conceal order and be in cover. The operative cannot be selected as a valid target by enemy operatives. This immunity takes precedence over all other rules, including Seek, rules that allow targeting concealed models. Vantage Terrain ignores cover for visibility. The only exception is if an enemy is within 2 inches of the operative, they can still target it. Yeah, pretty good. So one with the Gloom is a potent aspect technique that enhances the Striking Scorpion's stealth capabilities. It creates a powerful defensive shield for operatives with a concealed order and in cover, making them untargetable under most circumstances. Use it to hold objectives, bait enemies into vulnerable positions, and secure advantageous ambushes while remaining untouchable in the shadows. For the final Striking Scorpion aspect technique, we've got Merciless Strikes. You can use this technique whenever a Striking Scorpion operative is fighting in close combat. You can activate it the first time you strike with a critical success during that combat sequence. Basically, the effect is you gain the Shock Weapon rule for the remainder of that sequence. And the Shock Weapon rules means that the defender must discard one of their retained normal successes whenever you strike with a melee weapon that has the rule. So basically, Merciless Strikes enable Striking Scorpions to dominate in melee by reducing the enemy's ability to defend after landing a critical hit. It's an ideal technique for ensuring close combat engagements are swift and decisive. That's pretty much it for the aspect techniques and the faction rules of Blades of Khaine. There's quite a lot of them, about 15 of them altogether, basically 5 for each of the Blades of Khaine. Now, here's just for reference, the Wraithbone Talisman token, Rune of Shielding token, and the Rune of Prophecy token for your viewing pleasure. Okay, so moving on to strategic ploys, and for the first strategic ploy we have is Forewarned. Whenever an operative is shooting a ready friendly Blade of Khaine operative, you can reroll any of your defense dice results of 1 result, e.g. results of 2 if you decide you want reroll results of 2. Now moving on to the next strategic ploy, we've got Ruthless Poise. Whenever a friendly Blades of Khaine operative is fighting a ready enemy operative, that friendly operative melee's weapon has the Ceaseless Weapon rule. The next strategic ploy we have is Khaine's Vengeance. Whenever a friendly Blades of Khaine operative is shooting an expended enemy operative, that friendly operative's ranged weapons have the Ceaseless Weapon rule. And for the final strategic ploy we have is Dance of Death. Select 2 friendly Blades of Khaine operatives visible to and within 6 inches of each other, remove them from the kill zone and set them back up in each other's previous locations. Or in other words, fancy words for swap their positions. Okay guys, so basically the Ceaseless Weapon rule, since we've got 2 strategic ploys with the Ceaseless Weapon rule. Yeah, so the Ceaseless Weapon rule allows you to reroll your attack dice of 1 result of any result of your choosing. For example, like here, result of 1, if you decide to reroll results of 1. And just to clarify, a ready operative means it's an operative that has not been activated yet during this turning point, and an expended operative is an operative that has been activated already and been used during this turning point. Okay guys, now we're moving on to the Firefight ploys. So the Blades of Khaine Firefight ploy number 1, we've got Blade Wind. You can use this Firefight ploy during a friendly Blades of Khaine operative's activation. During that activation, that operative can perform 2 fight actions. Okay, very easy and straightforward. Moving on to Starfall, Firefight ploy number 2, Starfall. Use this Firefight ploy during a friendly Blades of Khaine operative's activation. During that activation, that operative can perform 2 shoot actions. Again, very straightforward, very easy to understand. So moving on to Firefight ploy number 3, Fading Light. Use this Firefight ploy during a friendly Blades of Khaine operative's activation. During that activation, that operative can form a fallback action for 1 less AP. Moving on to the final Firefight ploy, we've got Contempt. Use this Firefight ploy when a friendly Blades of Khaine operative is retaliating or an enemy operative is shooting at it. After your opponent rolls their attack dice, but before rerolls until the end of that sequence, your opponent cannot reroll their attack dice. If your opponent declared the use of any Firefight ploys during that sequence that would allow them to reroll, that ploy is cancelled and the CP spent on it is refunded. So yeah, it's basically just a reroll block. Okay, with that done, we're moving on to faction equipment. So the first faction equipment we have is the Rune of Prophecy. Once per battle, after rolling off to decide initiative, you can add D3 to or subtract D3 from your result. The next faction equipment we've got Rune of Shielding. Once per battle, when an attack dice inflicts normal damage on a friendly Blades of Khaine operative, you can ignore that inflicted damage. Alright, so the wording is horrendous in this, but I'm going to read it out anyway. Faction equipment, Rune of Foresight. When this equipment is revealed, you can roll 1d3. Now, in the strategy phase of the turning point, you basically gain 1 additional CP equal to the result of that d3 roll. That could have been worded a lot better. I don't know what happened there. It's terrible. Please redo that, Games Workshop, please. Anyway, moving on to the next one. Faction equipment, Wraithbone Talisman. Once per turning point, when a friendly Blades of Khaine operative is shooting, fighting, or retaliating, if you roll 2 or more fails, you can discard 1 of them to retain another as a normal success instead. Okay guys, now the fun part, we're moving on to team composition. So for the Blades of Khaine kill team, you can have a total of 8 operatives, including 1 kill team leader. Now for the kill team leader, you've got the choice of the Dire Avenger Exarch, the Howling Banshee Exarch, or the Striking Scorpion Exarch. Firstly, for the Dire Avenger Exarch, you've got a choice of the Shuriken Pistol or Shimmer Shield, and the Dire Sword or Power Weapon for the melee weapon. Or you can rock the Shuriken Catapult as the range weapon and Fist for the melee weapon, or Twin Shuriken Catapult for the range weapon and the Gun Butt for the melee weapon. Now, if you do select the Shimmer Shield, it basically grants you this rule. Whenever an operative is shooting a friendly Blades of Khaine operative that's visible to and within 2 inches of this operative, you can ignore the piercing weapon rule. This operative only has this rule if you select the Shimmer Shield as the weapon option. Also, the Dire Avenger has 2 rules that come with him. Firstly, he's got Defense Tactics. Whenever this operative contests an objective marker or one of your mission markers, or whenever it's shooting an enemy operative that does, this operative's weapons have the accurate 1 weapon rule, which means you can retain 1 attack dice as a normal success without rolling. And additionally, he's also got the Exarch rule. This operative can perform 2 fight or 2 shoot actions during its activation. Moving on to the Howling Banshee. For his loadout, you can equip the Mirror Swords, or you can equip for the ranged weapon, Shuriken Pistol, and the Executioner for the melee weapon, or you can get the Shuriken Pistol and the Power Weapon, or the Shuriken Pistol and the Tricycle. I don't know if I've known that, forgive me. Or you can get the Tricycle and a Power Weapon. Now, Tricycle is kind of like, I guess, like a ninja star, I guess. You can throw it, or you can slash with it. So you can use it for both range and melee. Now, the Banshee Exarch has 2 rules. Firstly, the Banshee Mask. Whenever this operative is fighting, worsen the hit stat of that enemy operative's melee weapons by 1. This isn't cumulative with being injured, so it doesn't stack with any injury debuffs. The Howling Banshee Exarch also has the Exarch rule, which means it can also perform 2 fight or 2 shoot actions during its activation. Now moving on to the Striking Scorpion Exarch, he can be loaded out with Shuriken Pistol and the Biting Blade, or can be loaded out with the Twin Shuriken Pistol and the Twin Chainswords, or can be loaded out with the Shuriken Pistol and the Scorpion Claws and Chainsword. Comes with 2 rules, the Mani Blasters. Whenever this operative performs the fight action at the start of the roll attack dice step, you can use this rule. If you do, inflict 2 damage on the enemy operative in that sequence. The Striking Scorpion Exarch also comes with the Exarch rule, which allows him to fight twice and shoot twice during an activation. Okay, now we're going to move on to the rest of the team composition. So after you select your kill team leader, you can select 7 kill team operatives. Now it can be a combination of any of these warriors on your screen right now, starting from either the Dire Avenger Warrior, the Howling Banshee Warrior, or the Striking Scorpion Warrior. Now the Dire Avenger Warrior comes with the Shuriken Catapult and Fists as the melee weapon, and also comes with the rule Defense Tactics, which allows him in specific conditions to get the accurate one weapon rule, just like their XR. Now, moving on to the Howling Banshee Warrior, can be loaded out with a Shuriken Pistol and a Power Weapon, also comes with the Banshee Mask rule, same with the Howling Banshee Exarch. You can also select the Striking Scorpion Warrior, which comes loaded out with the Shuriken Pistol, as well as the Chainsword. Now, also comes with the Mani Blasters rule. Alright guys, we're going to be moving on to weapons and stats and data cards now. And firstly up on the screen, we've got the Dire Avenger Exarch. He's got an APL of 3, move stat of 7 inches, 3+ save, and 9 wounds. And for the Dire Avenger Warrior, got an APL of 3, move stat of 7 inches, a 4+ save, and 8 wounds. Again, I'm just going to leave all the data cards here for your viewing pleasure. Feel free to screenshot them and use them for your games. However, if you do, I ask that you press that subscribe button. Since I've helped you out, help me out a little bit too. It really helps the channel a long way. So yeah, we'll go through a few of the few weapon rules right here, just so that you can play games a lot easier. Firstly, we've got the rending rule here, which applies to the Dire Avenger Exarch's weapons. So for the rending rule, if you retain any critical successes, you can retain one of your normal successes as a critical success instead. So basically, if you score any crits, you can change any one of your other normal rolls into a crit also. Now you've got range 8 inches, which means exactly what it says. It means whatever weapon you're shooting that has that rule has a range limited to 8 inches. Now for the ceaseless weapon rule, you can re-roll any of your attack dice results of one result of your choice. So if you selected results of 2, you can re-roll 2s. Now the lethal 5+ rule means your critical successes hit on a 5+ rather than a 6. And once again, moving on to the Dire Avenger's weapon rule, he's just got rending. For the next page, we're moving on to the Howling Banshees now. We got the Howling Banshee Exarch, got an APL of 3, move stat of 7 inches, got a 3+ save, and 9 wounds. The Howling Banshee Warrior has an APL of 3, move stat of 7 inches, and a 4+ save, as well as 8 wounds. Moving on to the weapon rules now. Again, we've got the range of 8 inches. We've got rending, once again, went through on the other page. We've got turn 2 inches. Basically select a valid primary target, then any number of targets within 2 inches of the firing target as secondaries. Shoot against all targets in any order of your choice, rolling each sequence separately. Lethal 5+, again, you crit on a 5+ instead of your 6, and ceaseless re-rolling any attack dice results of your choosing. Now for the Howling Banshee Warrior, Same rules once again apply. Okay, now we've got the data cards here for the Striking Scorpion. Starting off with the Striking Scorpion Exarch. He's got an APL of 3. He's got move of 7 inches, 3 plus save, 9 wounds. Striking Scorpion Warrior has APL of 3, 7 inch move, 4 plus save, 8 wounds. Most of the rules are the same, so you've got the range of 8 inches, the rending, got ceaseless, but here we've got the brutal weapon rule. So the brutal weapon rule means your opponent can only block with critical successes. For the Striking Scorpion Warrior, we have, again, all the same rules apply, range of 8 inches and rending. That's it for today for the Blades of Khaine kill team. I hope you liked the video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comment section below what video guides you want to see in the future, or maybe what kill teams you want to see Games Workshop release in the future. Now, if you want to stay in tune for this series, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you want to show the channel some more support, check out our Patreon. I'll put the link down in the comment section, down in the description below. Alright guys, Alex out.